Good morning, Die Harders. This is ready to live free and die hard on this S&W EXPerience Review. On today's episode, which by my count would be like episode 60, I think, we're reviewing Thor Love and Thunder, a movie I saw a month ago, but Syxx has joined me to review now. And so far, what I've been hearing is it's not that great. It ain't a bad movie, but it's not exactly Thor 3. Yeah,
where do we begin?
Let's start with Christian Bale's gore. Do you like that character?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have some good things to say about Christian. I'll admit, the beginning of the movie definitely confused me with the shifting tonality of his particular first scene. It was not something that, it wasn't cohesive. Like, the tone that Gore is portraying in his initial scene is one of suffering and pain and loss. And I don't know what they were really going for, tonally wise. But God has his own level of humor that does not mix at all with Gore's current emotional state.
Yeah.
And it removes you from the entire scene that Christian is playing. He's playing it straight. He's playing it straight and genuine. But, yeah. From that point on, I was like, this is not going to be a good foray.
Yeah.
It really won't be.
Tonal inconsistency, not just in the scene, but with certain characters in the scene. Like, you have Christian, like you said, you have Christian Bale in there playing it straight, trying to be like terrifying as fuck, and the other characters would just be like they were pulled from a different movie. It's like, what's going on here? Do you not see what we're seeing? Like,
exactly, like what's going on?
Yeah.
And just like, I don't know. There's so many inconsistencies, so many things that make you go, well, why did you do that? Case in point, let's take when Thor, Valkyrie, and Jane head back to Earth using the Bifrost. Obviously, that leaves Stormbreaker vulnerable in the sense that Gore has an opportunity to grab it. They use the Bifrost, and the thinking in that scene is that's the only way that they can escape. Yet in the very next scene, following their escape back to Earth, Thor, having lost Stormbreaker, uses Zeus's thunderbolts to travel to the Chamber of Eternity, which makes no sense, given that if this lightning bolt can teleport you, why didn't you use it in the first place?
Yeah.
And then going further than that, you have Thor using the lightning bolts. And then when Jane goes to rescue Thor, she uses the Pegasus.
Then what's the point of Stormbreaker
what is any mode of transportation?
Yeah. If you can use the Pegasus to get there, then why do you need Stormbreaker so desperately? And if dude can use the Thunderbolts, why didn't he use them sooner? Also, here's another thing.
He literally would not have gotten Stormbreaker if they used Thunderbolts. Jesus.
Yeah. Plus there was that that scene with the kids where he's like for a limited time only, you guys can possess the power of Thor. Yeah. Using the Thunderbolts.
I mean, okay, listen. I can't defend that, but I have to say something first. I can defend it, but let me say this first.
Okay.
When Thor sees Jane and he realizes she has powers, he is visibly confused. Let's keep that in mind. He is visibly confused. Not once in his mind does he think to himself or realize that he gave her those powers. So why does he then think to give those kids powers? Because, okay, look, I get it. Now, let me defend it. Obviously, Odin was the only person at that point, as guardian-wise, who could grant and take away powers. Now, what that means is that Odin uses Odin Force to give and remove powers. He did it in Thor 1 and so on and so forth. So, obviously, Odin having passed away into Valhalla means that the Odin Force gets transferred to Thor, enabling him to grant people powers just like his own father did. But he did not know that at the start of the movie. And he never realized it and still questioned how this is possible. Throughout the movie, Jane being Thor was never explained to him. We got it in a flashback that he didn't even realize was setting up the possibility that one day she might get powers. That was for our benefit. He didn't ever realize that.
Yeah, even though there was that scene of them throughout their relationship, yeah, and he was talking to the hammer, it's like, look after her. And just, okay, if that scene is there, why is he confused later on?
Another thing. That's actually a good point. That actually destroys my argument. Because Thor and Jane broke up while Odin was still alive. Odin was still very much alive. In Ragnarok, people are talking to Thor as if he's still dealing with the breakup.
Yeah.
And he's lying. He's like, well, you know, I left her. Cool. That means that he would have enchanted his own hammer while Odin was still alive with the Odin Force.
And his spell was still very much
it would
affecting
only
the hammer.
make sense for him to grant powers if it was post Odin's death. But we know that they broke up sometime in early 2017 when Odin was still very much alive.
Yeah.
So it literally destroys my argument in trying to defend that whole scenario. Disgusting.
Yeah. It was, plus I remember seeing in like an interview or whatever, they said that they actually filmed Natalie Portman becoming Thor, but they decided to scrap it. I kind of wish they hadn't done that, because now it just leaves the question of, well, how did this happen? Like, how did the previously broken up hammer just decide to piece itself back together and like grant Jane this power now? Like, that could have happened at any old point, you know? Because
my guess is the hammer thinks cancer is the most serious version of something that would require the hammer to protect Jane from, which is stupid. Like, why cancer? Like,
yeah, like, dude, that's the thing, dude. Because Jane had cancer for a while by that point. So that's what I'm asking. Like, why is the hammer assembling now? Is it because like she's happens to be there, like nearby, and then it's like, oh, let me piece myself back. Like, okay. Shit.
And there's just so many things. The biggest gripe I have, okay, not really the biggest, I have bigger gripes, but just another level of inconsistency is the fact that Jane Foster is a human.
Yeah.
She's a human woman who receives the power of Thor when she holds the hammer. And obviously, you know, she can fire the hammer, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean every time she lets go of the hammer, she uses the power. But if she, like, puts it down, she uses the power. She's a human. She's essentially Steve Rogers in Endgame. And we'll speak about that as well. Yet when she dies, for starters, she breaks up into Stardust like this guardian. And two, she goes to Valhalla. That is bullshit. Because by that very same logic, Steve Rogers
should be there too.
As well. And he would disintegrate into magical Stardust like in his guardian. Which doesn't make sense.
Actually,
and another thing, there's literally a scene where I went, oh, come on. Like, I shouted, I was like, oh, fucking come on. Thor is about to get impaled by the Necro Sword. And out of nowhere, Mjolnir hits Korg. That's literally Endgame. And I was like, fucking hell, this is atrocious.
They're just recycling plot beats now.
It's plagiarism and it's atrocious.
Yeah. Thing is with the Valhalla thing, I have like a point to make about that. Why Cap wouldn't be there? Because thing is, they say when they go to find Lady Sif and she's like laying there all beat to shit, and she's like, "No, leave me so I can enter Valhalla." And then Thor's like, "Actually, you have to die in the battle to enter Valhalla. You survived." So Cap grew to be like this old ass man. He didn't die in no heat of battle. He wouldn't be there. I guess he would just go to heaven like everyone else. Jane, however, did die, in a battle fighting Gorr and them. So it does make some sense that she's there. And she did have Thor's powers for like a while.
She has no Asgardian heritage. It just... Because when she's Thor, she literally has blonde hair. When she's Jade, she's a brunette. Or it's a mix when she's Thor. But she died a human. She died a human with human cancer and human organs and no strength. And yet she goes to Valhalla. Excellent writing. Just brilliant.
I guess it was just the writers wanting to give her a nice send-off. I guess they're just like... Yeah, let's give her this like happy moment where she meets Heimdall again,
Which is weird because she literally has no connection to Heimdall.
Exactly.
Other than he can see her sometimes in Thor movies.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's so happy and, if anything, we should see Thor's mother who did die in battle and was stabbed by a dark elf. Mm. That would be more cathartic because it's Thor's mother. They have a chance to reconnect, Or even fucking Odin. Okay, but I don't know.
He wouldn't be there.
Is Odin not going to go to Valhalla because he didn't die in battle? Like
that's what Thor said when Sif was dying. In
the comics, Valhalla is just as guardian heaven.
Yeah.
You don't need to die in battle. You just end up there.
Yeah.
So Odin did go to Valhalla, or is he? I guess he automatically gets a ticket to Valhalla because he's Odin. Like, I don't get it. Oh, because he's a royal family, he goes to Valhalla automatically. He hasn't died in battle. What were your rules, Marvel? You're not making any sense.
It would have been a hell of a lot better if they didn't have that scene where Thor is like, "Oh, you have to die in battle." Like, it would have been a lot tidier.
Because it ruins everything.
Uh-huh. There's this goofy line when he goes to see Sif. It's like, but you lost your hand. Your hand is probably there. A piece of me was like, are we gonna see her hand? And the thing when Jane walks up to Valhalla, is there gonna be a scene where the camera pans and there's Lady Sif's hand like giving a thumbs up or some shit? Like, that was a missed opportunity.
Some sort of robot arm with stone.
But when we see her later, she's just an amputee
in a technological future of the most accurate.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you're a guardian, which means you're hyper developed. Second of all, it's the MCU, so even Earth at this point is highly developed.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you can't get a robot arm in 2025 fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe Earth? That's just...
Fucking Claw had a robot hand in 2018, man.
Bro, like, this is bonkers. I don't know why. I think they hate her. They literally hate her. These Guardians hate Lady Sif. Because why wouldn't you give her an arm? Why wouldn't you?
You telling me that in a civilization of flying like Viking boats and all this advanced crap, you don't have robots, like robot limbs and appendages and shit?
They hate her. They literally hate her. They can give her a destroyer armor level arm that is leagues more powerful than the Wakandan arm, but no, they hate her, so they make her an amputee in a world where being a paraplegic or being a disabled person is not the end of your life. Nah, but she has one arm. Fuck her, right? Rhodey has artificial, leg walkers and spinal cord infusions that make him walk, but he's a paraplegic. But no, Lady Sif gets one arm. Fuck her.
Jeez.
Wonderful.
With all that aside, I'd have to say that Christian Bale as Gore is the one bright spot in this movie, but we get so little of him. Like, also for a guy called the God Butcher, there's not a lot of butchering going on. Like,
we didn't even see the scene with fucking, Falabar, the Brave. That was literally a trailer scene. We saw it in a tiny fucking screen on a ship, on the Guardian ship. He didn't even go there. Jesus Christ. What was the point? Why show us that big scene as if there's going to be a snowscape fight? Everyone was like, oh my god, who's that missing space? Who's that missing space for? People were like, oh, it's Federico Bill. It wasn't nothing. It was a missing space. It was just
empty space.
There was no one there. No one was ever there.
Damn, dude.
Yikes.
I know, I think the last time, because normally in a trailer where there's an awkwardly empty space, there's someone there that they've erased to like contain spoiler, but like even in like the trailer for Endgame, remember when like the ship was landing, there was this weird gap between Cap and Black Widow. And then when the movie picks up, like, oh, it's Ant-Man. And then in No Way Home, there was that weird gap where, like, the lizard gets kicked by something. And, like, it's Andrew Garfield. So, like, we were just expecting something there.
And there was nothing at all.
Nothing. Does that mean we can no longer trust movie trailers now? I think, yeah.
Yeah. They literally pulled an Infinity War. But also, I can safely say that this movie was bad, not because I expected certain characters. I didn't expect better. That was an asshole. I didn't believe that. There was nothing in this movie that I didn't like because I didn't get to see. The movie was just bad execution. I wasn't expecting Beta Ray. I wasn't expecting Loki. I wasn't expecting Odin. I wasn't expecting anyone. Everyone I saw was everyone I expected, and it was still bad.
Yeah. Speaking of everyone we saw, did you stick around for the mid-credit scene with Zeus?
Before we go any further, I would just kind of like to apologize for all the goddamn chicken noises going on in the background. You'd swear I live on a fucking farm. I don't. I live in a suburb, and it's just rogue-ass chickens running around and no one doing anything about them. Fuck's sake, man. And apologies for all the bird chirpings. Like, I seriously try to get rid of those every time they show up, but, like, they keep coming back here. Like, just, ugh. If ever someone wanted a gun, it was, like, me in those moments where in the background of a podcast, or I'm trying to have a conversation, I just hear, shut the fuck up! If I had a rifle, I wouldn't be hearing that shit. But then somebody would definitely call the cops on me, so not really a fair trade-off. I mean, hearing gunshots every couple of days because the neighbor doesn't hate the fucking birds perching there. But then again, you think they'd get the fucking message to stop perching there because there's a crazy motherfucker with a gun blasting us. Birds are disrespectful as fuck lately, man. They don't even fly away anymore. They just skip away a couple steps. We just need to start shooting them, man. Like, we need to start actively pursuing birds now instead of just like, shoo, or whatever. Like, nah, motherfucker, you're in my path. I'm gonna stomp you, make you fly away. Shit. Anyway, back to the show.
I walked out and came back as the credits ended. I just could not be in the theater. I was like, what the hell? Like, I was laughing and I was like, this is crazy. This is horrible. I did come back. I did see Hercules. He's ugly as hell. I'm sorry. He's not handsome. He's handsome. He's ugly as hell. Decent body. Not that buff, but yeah. I don't care for Hercules.
Dude, this guy's too small to be Hercules, man.
They should have gotten, like, fucking Henry Cavill with his hairy chest. That's Hercules to me.
Yeah.
Not whoever this guy is.
Like, he's apparently from that show, Ted Lasso. Yeah, he was one of the soccer players on Ted Lasso.
Yeah, no, just doesn't work. He looks like an Italian pizza.
Dude, I'm just sitting there like, dude, I I didn't know he was on Ted Lasso when I saw the moment. I was just like, when the camera panned to him and he was like, yes, father. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, it took
He looks like a judge on a cooking contest. like a very, very arrogant judge. Can you show you this picture? He looks like an arrogant judge. Like some cooking show on Food Network.
Like, he should be wearing, like, that white shirt with the rolled-up sleeves and shit.
Look at this. He screams asshole. Like, bro. My word.
I think that's what they were going for, but like, you know, like we don't want you to like this dude, but goddamn, dude, y'all went too far in that regard there. Just...
And he literally has the smallest shoulders in the universe. How is this man the prime pick to play Hercules? He's not even buff.
Dude, like, he's just a guy, man.
He looks like a random foot soldier.
Dude.
Nothing screams Herculean about him. Nothing.
Yep.
They could have gotten the literal goddamn Zeus from the Snyder Cut.
He would have worked.
No.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Like, thing is with Hercules' character, it's like you'd have to look for a guy who could believably go toe to toe with guys like Thor and the Hulk, and they chose this dude.
And that's Henry Cavill.
Yeah, like
If you look at the Henry Cavill in The Witcher, shave his long hair, it's a way anyway.
yeah.
Give him his original hair. That is Hercules.
Yeah, man.
Hercules is big, surly, tall. He's brute. He's a brute force. He's a hulking behemoth. But this guy is like a fucking shawarma owner in a New York corner shop.
Like, you just go, I don't know, it's Hayway to a shawarma shop and you just catch him there. Like, so, like, what do you want? Just...
Jeez.
Oh, shit.
Just, yeah.
I hate to rag on this dude. I'm sure he's a great actor and everything, but he is not Hercules, man. Like, just...
I think I realized it well. They gave him a CGI body. That's not his real body.
Yes. You saw that, like, suit he was on. That was at, like, the premiere and shit, dude. Like, that ain't... In the movie, that ain't him. Which is fucked, because normally Marvel gets their actors into that beefy shape. Like, they don't CGI people. Even with Jane Foster, they said, like you know, the only CGI was, like, done to her hair to make her more blonde. Like, she is actually that buff. Just...
Yeah, this is, it really wasn't a good for her. It's unfortunate. It happens, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It was not ideal for a Thor.
But, shit, what else was I gonna say? The part where Gorr reaches eternity, and he wants to, like, wish all the gods, like, death to all gods, and then Thor suggests, like, why don't you just wish for your daughter back? That kind of annoyed me, because I'm just sitting there thinking, you're telling me the entire time he's been... Dude.
Like, okay, like, for the mere fact, when Thor said, I don't even know who said it. Someone said, now you get to be with your daughter. I thought he was gonna die and meet her in their version of the afterlife. And just before he dies, he wishes for Jane to be better. The way he was looking at Jane made it seem like he was looking at his own relationship with his daughter. And robbing someone of that is, to him, at that point, something he doesn't want to do. So I thought he literally, like, wished Jane to be better, and he would die and meet his daughter in their heaven. But they wish their daughter back? What? And now she's like, there was a adopted kid. Like, why? Who asked for this? Who asked for Thor to be a dad, let alone the father of Gorr's daughter, who now has powers thanks to eternity and shit? What?
This is confusing. Like, Plus, dude, it wasn't until that moment, like when Thor was like, you get to be with the daughter. I just sat there going, are you telling me his entire journey here, he never once thought, hey, let me wish for my daughter to come back? Like, his sole thing to come here was just, let me kill all the gods. They're like, the fuck, man? He would have thought of that at least once, man. Like, shit.
Nothing makes sense in this movie. And how eternity just doesn't speak. It's like a random thing here.
Just the weird.
No voice actress, just nothing.
Yeah, just the being and the. What was that thing with you saw in the pool, like eternity was walking towards Gore, but then when it flipped back, it was his daughter. Like, what was that?
It was essentially representing the fact that his daughter, as much as she is Gore's daughter, she's fundamentally different.
Yeah.
She has powers granted to her by eternity. So if anything, she might have a little bit of eternity inside her, which is why she has powers and stuff like that. Because Gore's race is pretty much humanoid individuals with no powers, and they're very weak and they're a very fragile race. I think Earthlings can beat them in a world war, basically. Yeah. But obviously, with her being wished back, she got a little bit of an upgrade when she came back to life. Or when she was recreated. I don't know, because you can't bring someone back to life when the corpse isn't there. You have to recreate them. So it's not really his daughter. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has like a piece of eternity.
Yeah. The laser vision and so on, which raises
to question how powerful is she? If you have a sliver of eternity in you, how powerful are you truly? Because we've seen how Captain Marvel can be as powerful as the biggest hitters simply by absorbing the engine that was powered by the Tesseract Space Stone.
Yeah.
I would stand to reason and argue that eternity is more powerful than an Infinity Stone. So that sliver that kid has, how powerful is she? And how powerful will she be? Will she be a big player in the future? Who knows? How are they going to age her up? They can't. We're currently flowing in a timeline that's going year by year. She's going to be an Avenger. Like, what is their plan? What's their long-term plan for this?
Well, we know that at some point, like, Hercules is going to try to kill Thor. Whether that's some point soon or, like, later down the line, we don't know.
But also, like, there have not been any Thor sequels announced.
Yeah.
And we're now going into 2025 phase 6. That's in 3 years' time. And there's no announcement for it.
Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot that Thor Love and Thunder was the last phase 4 movie. Shit.
Yeah.
What's in phase 5 now?
When will he come back?
A lot of these post-credit scenes of this this phase have seriously been, this will happen somewhere down the line. No Way Home, Peter Parker back as Spider-Man, somewhere down the line. Clear and Strange, somewhere down the line.
Okay. I think for Spider-Man, I understand.
Yeah.
Marvel Studios is not the one to announce Spider-Man. It's actually Sony. So it's Sony who has to announce it. So sometimes Spider-Man is missing. He just hasn't been announced by Sony. But I do think in the next 2 phases, 5 and 6, Spider-Man's sequel, the college trilogy, will squeeze somewhere in that time. Not that they've completely ditched the character. So that I do understand.
You hear that Kevin Feige announced that the freshman year series isn't an origin story. But
also it's a multiversal one. It's not canon to that.
But then what the fuck is it then?
616 MCU, because Norman Osborn is essentially replacing Tony Stark's role.
But
almost like I think almost word for word, like he literally took his place as the person to approach Peter where Tony Stark was in Civil War. He fills in that role in that particular point in time, and then I guess he becomes Peter's mentor, but then eventually down the line he becomes a Goblin. I don't understand.
Yeah, but then
and they're black.
What? He's black.
Osborns are black.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that, but I mean, sure.
It's because of Norman having waves. I think they thought a white man would look ridiculous with waves, so they just made him black. But he does have waves. They look pretty nice.
Okay, I mean, no, but okay, we know it's not in our like 616 timeline because in No Way Home, Norman, when the Rhymeverse Osborn comes by, he says Oscorp doesn't exist.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we exist in another MCU multiverse, but just not this one. Which is weird, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. For all their like bluster and bullshit, I still say What If is not canon. Just with the way like we thought.
In what sense? I mean, it was never canon. It's a multiversal thing due to the low-key branches. Of course, it won't be.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing in What If that's 616 MCU. There's nothing in What If.
Yeah.
It's literally What If to be like it's a branch timeline.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like right away when MOM came out, the What If people like straight up like, oh, the Captain Carter in that movie isn't our Captain Carter. This character that is not from the What If. This is a variant, whatever. So let's basically say What If isn't canon to anything. Nothing from What If is gonna cross over into this main timeline. So they was bullshitting, basically.
The only point I see What If coming into play with our world is in Secret Wars. Other than that, there's nothing. There's no point where they can like interject. Besides having similar characters come back, like we have Reed Richards played by Krasinski, or what's this? A variant of Thor. Yeah, nothing will definitely come into the play. Nothing.
Yeah. But speaking of the variants, I like how certain characters' variants are different the way they are. I absolutely hate the Doctor Strange variants throughout the multiverse are just Benedict and Cumberbatch. Just like fuck's sakes, man. That still bugs me, man.
Especially given the fact that at some point, even though it was written in as a joke, they technically was a Doctor Strange in the Rhymeverse.
Yeah.
And again, I think because the Rhymeverse is such a Spider-Man centric place, and of course, the implication being that it's still the case today, there are no other heroes in the Rhymeverse other than Spider-Man. Like, he's the world's only hope, which is weird, but also
there is
simply because they refuse to add, some heroes in the world, like retroactively.
There is.
You know what Avengers are.
I mean, yeah, there are no.
He's the only hero on his earth. But what they could have done in No Way Home to give us something to just, I guess, to smile about. They literally could have been like, oh yeah, we have our own Tony Stark. We have our own Fantastic Four. And he's Doctor Strange. Because he was name dropped. And of course, that was a joke by Sam Raimi. But given that he's literally directing a Doctor Strange movie, do you not want to call back on your joke by having a Doctor Strange variant? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you would think that's where his mind would go.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't. It has to be us to think of that. Jeez.
Plus, there was, it shows that, okay, when Doctor Strange came back and he was like, I've been dangling over the Grand Canyon for 4 hours, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man doesn't go, like, wait, who's this guy? It shows, like, on some level, he knows who this is. Like, he was just like, you went to the Grand Canyon? Like, we could have used your help. He doesn't even like, wait, who's this? It shows, like, at some point, there is a Doctor Strange in the Rhymeverse, and he does see him.
But also, here's the thing. They never have an interaction. Like, they never have a meaningful interaction. The implication is that Peter at some point told him that he defeated this wizard who was trying to kill these villains. and him appearing would mean that this is the guy Peter was talking about.
Yeah.
Just there was no connections. I was like, oh, so you really could have gone with more meaningful insertions.
Also, Future Shogun here chiming in to say, I love the scene in No Way Home when Norman Osborn, when Green Goblin flies in and he's like, can the Spider-Man come out to play? It, like, as he's saying that, it cuts to Tobey Maguire, and he's got this face on him. He's got this look on his face that's like, yo, it's like, oh shit. That's right there. That's that shiver down the spine face right there, man. He's got that going on. It's like, oh no. Like, I know that laugh, but it's just, fuck, dude. Oh, I love that shit. Superb scene, great acting, great movie. Way better than the movie we're watching now. So, bleh.
And again, that was a good movie. That movie was, it wasn't perfect. It was a very, very good movie. But it wasn't perfect, but I loved that movie. Make no mistake. As much as we might nitpick one or two things, that's still the best movie since Endgame. It really is.
Absolutely. No doubt about it, man.
Yeah.
But with, I remember you saying, like, there's no other heroes in the Raimiverse that says Spider-Man. There are. The Punisher exists in that world. There's the scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 where, you know, Thomas Jane's Punisher from that point. Because in a bit... not Amazing. In just Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, where Mary Jane's running through the park in a wedding dress. One of the people she runs past, like, this dude all dressed in black, and he, like, turns to see her as she walks away. They couldn't get Thomas Jane to actually film that scene, so they got his, like, stunt double. The implication of that scene being the guy she was running past was Thomas Jane's Punisher, so he exists. They don't interact, but, like, he's there in that universe, you know, doing his thing somewhere.
And that was officially recognized.
Yeah, man. They said, like, you know, Sony and them were planning at some point to, like, do the Punisher and Spider-Man in the same movie. Yeah, you know, initially they wanted Wolverine to be there, and, like, Hugh Jackman was actually there, but they couldn't, like, ship his costume. So that stands to reason at some point Fox's X-Men and Sony's Spider-Man were going to cross over, you know. But you know, couldn't send dudes.
Which is pretty big for different studios.
Yeah, man.
At that point in time.
The MCU wasn't a thing then.
Solely own properties. They were like, no, you will not get a piece of this. This is our pie.
Yeah. That was that would have been huge. You know, if they were able to send dude his suit and he popped up in Spider-Man at some point, that would have been big. I mean, Fox's X-Men might still be around if they had that crossover, dude.
Yep.
Oh, damn.
Jeez. That's, yeah.
Because I remember in, like, the X-Men TV show, I don't remember if it was X-Men or Spider-Man, but, like, Spider-Man was there, and, like, they were discussing, like, mutants and whatever. And, like, one of the X-Men thought, like, Spider-Man was a mutant, too, because they were like, well, how do you explain, like, whatever. And, like, he basically is like, I'm not a fucking mutant, dude. I got bit by a spider. That's the only reason I'm like this.
He's an individual who became mutated, but he doesn't carry the mutant X gene.
Yeah.
But he was mutated fundamentally within his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So he is a mutant. He's a mutant individual, but not a mutant in the terms of the X-Men being mutant, because they're all born with their mutations. But Spider-Man received it.
So, you know, the thing with, like, the Sentinels, they target mutants and go kill them and shit. So, by your logic, would Spider-Man be on that hit list? Of, like, if the Sentinels just came out, would he be on that list of, like, we gotta get these people?
Thing is, I think the Sentinels, and I'm not sure, I could be wrong, I do believe that they're programmed with the ability to sense, recognize, whatever word you want to use, people with the muted X gene. So you might have cancer, or you might be Spider-Man or whatever. Your DNA is mutated, but you're not a mutant. So I think you would be an exception.
Yeah.
Because even the cancer people are mutated, like their cells are mutated. They have cancer cells. It's a mutation. But I don't think they would be killed by Sentinels. You get what I mean?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah.
But, eventually, what with, he wouldn't just stand by and let those Sentinels go around killing people. They would go after him at some point. Just for the sake of he's getting in our way, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's trying to stop us, so we will kill him. Make no mistake.
Yeah. So it's like that Days of Future Past story. I mean, that was a great movie. Like, Quicksilver scene aside, that was a great movie. Talked about him, dude.
I would have been fine if that was the last X-Men movie to come out. I mean, Logan is also perfect, but the way everything concluded, it felt like as much as this series had been tumultuous and had some mixed releases at certain points, they were able to end on an extremely enjoyable high note.
Yeah, that scene where like Logan wakes up in the present day, like 2029, and he sees Iceman, he sees Kitty Pryde,
Because everyone comes back, like it's the perfect ending to a saga. It's the perfect ending.
Yeah. The only downside,
and I guess that's why people. I guess that's why people argue that Logan isn't canon. Because even the director was like, he's not sure. So it's mostly been the people who have been like, okay, well that is the next step in DOFP. But even the director himself didn't confirm it, so it's not. Technically, it really isn't. It's like an Elseworld story. It's like a multiverse type of thing. Like, it was never supposed to be canon, and he was never supposed to be in that same continuity. And then when asked if it was, he was like, he doesn't know. So he never gave us an answer. So it quite literally is the end of the saga. It is. I can see.
Yeah. And then you had Apocalypse. And did you like X-Men Apocalypse? Man, did it stack up to Days of Future Past?
Apocalypse was a mixed bag. Like, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the level of Love and Thunder or Eternals or whatever. But you can at least sit through it to a certain extent. Like, yeah, it's not a good movie. Like, good is a very specific word. The movie is fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things where you ask yourself, why didn't they deal with this? And you look at the fact that Quicksilver never got to tell Eric that he is a son, and I guess Charles loses his way, and he loses his hair in the weirdest way possible.
Why did they feel? I remember seeing that on Facebook. Why did they feel the need to give Charles's mom this tragic backstory?
You can literally chalk it up to male pattern baldness. Like, it doesn't have to be a super amazing thing, that revolves around the X-Men. He's just a man who bald. Like, yeah. Like, what else? I mean, I guess the slow-mo scenes are a bit of a rehash, because we get it, he can run fast. He's already done that, but yeah. It's fine. It's not amazing, it's not great, it's not even good. It's fine.
Personally, I hated how they used Angel in that movie, because, Angel is one of the X-Men.
To be a 1980s brawler.
It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, aren't you rich? Like why are you dude?
Even the timeline doesn't match, because Angel is a young adult in the mid 2000s. If he was a young adult in the 80s,
He'd be a grown ass
his
man
father's
now.
age by the time that the actual Angel that we see in the original movies is. He'd be his dad's age.
Yeah. This timeline it's kind of fucked, man.
I suppose it's like the Emma Frost retcon thing.
Yeah.
But obviously Emma Frost in First Class was, one of, I even forgot the hero, but it was a good movie. He was one of the villains' like girlfriends / lackeys. But again, in Origins, you have Emma Frost as a teenager, the same age as Cyclops, arriving. I don't know if they were rescued or
They were rescued by Logan.
something, but we saw a young Emma Frost with a young Cyclops and whatnot.
And that's the 90s, which doesn't make sense. 'Cause,
So they kind of pulled an Emma Frost where they just reused the character for no apparent reason in a different time period altogether.
yeah. Oh, shit. But there's so many things that don't make sense about Fox's X-Men slate. Just... you hear that, Kevin Bacon, because he was in First Class, he said, like, he would like to play, like, that villain that he played there in the MCU.
But like, why would you?
That's the thing,
Like,
dude.
he wasn't a bad villain. He wasn't Christopher Eccleston as Malek.
Yeah.
He's kind of like not really that important.
Yeah.
Contrary to like statements, Shaw is important in like the comics. He's a member of the Hellfire Club and all that. And his powers are different there than they are in the movie. But like, yeah, in this movie, at First Class, he's not that big.
Like, I get it, in that movie he was trying to kickstart basically World War III with like America. He was basically trying to kickstart the Cold War. That was his thing. So, like, what would he even do here? Because he's an X-Men villain. We don't see him anywhere else. He's an X-Men villain. So, yeah. And we're not going to see them for a while, dude. So,
It's the fact that he of course, nothing existed as an individual from Nazi Germany, who I guess he's ageless. Like, why doesn't he age? Was that ever explained? I mean, yeah, mutants age pretty slowly, but he has an age, which is weird, given that people like Charles and Eric age gradually over a 15-year process. Yet, this guy hasn't aged since Nazi Germany. But yeah, whatever. It's fine. Doesn't really matter.
yeah.
I guess he ages better. But yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Nazi Germany until like the 60s. Yeah, cool. 20 years and you don't age. That's fine. Whatever.
Also, his powers are different in the movie, because in the comics, his power is that, the more damage he takes, the stronger he becomes, the more powerful he becomes. Like the dude took a punch from Colossus, and he was like, that was a mistake. Just, okay, that's his shtick. And, he decked him, because that's his power. You hit him, the stronger he gets. Like, you try to blast him, he gets more powerful. That's his shtick. But in the movie, like, he set off a grenade, and it went off. He, like, contained the explosion with his hand and sent it to the dude. Like, he redirects energy now. Like,
That's like one of the worst offenses. I think everyone, as much as that was a good movie, right? That was a good movie.
yeah.
It is a good movie. But I think one thing people will always have an issue with about everything else is the fact that they killed an unkillable character. But Darwin is a man who can adapt to everything except for when he can't, which is fine. It's fine if it wasn't if it also just didn't happen to be a black man.
any black man, the only black man.
Yeah.
Just not just any black man, the only
A
black
racially ambiguous being. Because in the comics, like that's what he is. Like he has like no defined race. He's just like he looks like Kip from Futurama, you know.
Yeah.
But no, he was not only was he played by a black guy, he dies first. The unkillable character not only dies first, but he's played by a black man.
Yeah. His thing, like he can adapt to anything. It's kind of, I was gonna say it's kind of like Kevin Levin, with like, but his thing is like absorbing shit. So like,
But the thing is, it's better than that because there was a run that he was in where I think he was against, I'm not sure if it was Thanos or Dr. Doom, it was some like hyper OP hero. He adapted the ability to withstand the attacks of this, and again, I really do forget who it is. He withstands the effects, and then he adapts to learn how to teleport and remove himself from the situation. So it's just he is quite OP in the comics. Like he can adapt and have powers that can rival people he's fighting with. But yeah, he just dies. He's dead.
yeah. Oh, it's a damn shame, dude. It's weird. Of that first class of X-Men, we don't see a lot of them in the next movie. Like, sure, we see of that first class of X-Men, we don't see a lot of them in Days of Future Past. Like, we see Scott's brother, but like, that's it. The guy with the sonic scream is gone. Like, the red guy who teleported was gone. Just, there's no explanation. They're just gone.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what they did with Nightcrawler in X3. You remember how, like, X2, they introduced Nightcrawler, and it very much seemed like he was gonna live with them and shit. Like, oh, he's one of the X-Men now. But in X3, he's just gone. There's no explanation where he is. He's just not there.
Yeah. But ultimately, one of those reviews are better than, well, not all of them, but quite a few are better than Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, just personally,
And I thought of that.
Yeah.
I just realized that there are more scenes that I repressed, and I just remembered that were just bad. Let's just start here. Let's look at Heimdall and his family.
Yeah.
What was that floating head thing? That was a meme. I just seen that on the internet. I didn't know what it was until I saw the video. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Why is he a floating head? I thought it was never a floating head, dude. It was just...
Never.
He straight up brought Thor into that vision. Like,
Wearing a floaty head, you could just put Thor in that cage and literally have it be exactly like Ragnarok. Thor is suddenly at one place and then he sees Heimdall in another place. You could have made the kid a full... Just bring the kid in the set. Because Heimdall appeared as Heimdall. He appeared as his full body. He touched Thor's shoulder. And suddenly he was inside the barricades where they were hiding from Hela. Why didn't he death the kid? You had the actor on set. Just film a scene where he's also in Asgard's, I don't know, parliamentary building, whatever building they were in. Just have the actor there and have him touch Thor, just like his dad, and then he's suddenly transported into the cage that's near eternity. But it's like, so many things didn't need to be done. Just didn't need to be done.
yeah.
And Heimdall's hair is a crime against humanity. That was the worst wig I've ever seen in a movie. That was a Tyler Perry wig.
Worse than,
That was a
Mordo in MOM?
That was a Shamik Moore, Tyler Perry ass wig. I swear to God.
The fuck, dude? You said that when we went to see No Way Home, dude. Like, you remember when that trailer popped up and you're like, what the fuck is that wig? Just...
And what is he wearing? Like, what are you wearing, Heimdall? What is that? Those clothes look like they were made by Mother Christian Park. Why are you wearing that in Valhalla? why aren't you wearing robes? Like it's heaven. Why are you wearing like a suit with lines on it? It doesn't make sense. You've never had anything.
Why isn't he wearing the clothes he had when he died?
Like armor. Why are you wearing this weird tactical suit thing? What is anything?
Yeah.
What is anything?
What is anything? Just, I will give the movie props on the fight between Thor and Gorr when they get to like that shadow realm or whatever. Like that was like everything was just black and white, and then when Thor summoned lightning or whatever, the color came back for a few seconds. That was well done. That was really well done. It's just, I wish we could have seen more of that and more of Gorr. Like holy shit, dude! Like you know that scene with the kids, where like the kids talking about Thanos or whatever, and then Gorr comes in and like scares the shit out of them. But just like he was a creepy bastard in that scene. Like fuck, dude.
Yeah, it's just a barrage of one scene after another scene after another scene. It's just not good.
Yeah, and when they get to Omnipotent City, I honestly thought Gorr was gonna show up because this is perfect. All the gods in one place, and you don't have Thor show up and start killing fools. Like,
Yeah.
I meant, you know Omnipotent City, where all the gods hang out? Yeah. Gorr should have been there. There should have been a scene where he shows up and kills everybody. Not everybody, but like he kills a bunch of people. Like,
because why can't he get there? They don't even explain it. Oh yeah, doesn't know where it is. Well, he'll find it. Like, what the hell?
Why can't he just like question one of the gods? Like, hey, where do y'all hang out? You know, just.
Why are there two goddamn celestials in Omnipotent City? Why?
They're not gods. That's. You remember that's why I was asking. Remember, like the last conversation we had, I asked you straight up, like, "Hey, are the Celestials gods?
Why are they there?
Why are
they not peeking in? Like, April. These dumbasses. Like, are they like Beavis and Butt hitting everything? Like, are they just looking at everyone and laughing at them? Like, look at them, so puny and weak. They think they're powerful, but they're not. Like, why were they there?
Jesus, dude. It was.
And it's the fact that the design language is not consistent in our movies. Because Chloe Zhao had a specific image of the Celestials. Yet what we have in Thor Love and Thunder
It's different.
is akin to James Gunn's vision, which again is steampunky and comic accurate Jack Kirby-esque. Chloe Zhao went for a weird, I don't even know how to explain it, a weird sharp rock monster, a weird futuristic Prometheus rock monster.
Why are they rocky?
They're
metal. Why do they look like they're made of rock and shit? Like,
and they have like sharp shoulders, like, and you know how I feel about the design. I do not like it.
Yeah.
Yet now you have two different Celestials who look like Celestials that James Gunn would like. Because again, the Guardians are in this movie, so if anything, James Gunn had a little bit of creative.
Yeah.
But he might not have been credited, because Sam Raimi also wasn't credited, but he also did consult while filming Multiverse of Madness. He also consulted, but he wasn't credited. So I do imagine that James Gunn had some input in how his Celestials would have looked. Yeah. But now I guess Taika's Celestials look exactly like Gunn's Celestials, because the Guardians are also in this movie. And those movies at this point have a very similar humor and tone, which isn't a good thing, but we'll also catch that.
But
so it's just like, where's the consistency? You've shown us how they look in one movie, and then you completely uproot that look in favor of the original look. So are you gonna retcon the way that they look in Chloe Zhao's movie?
The sequel that's coming up at some point in time. Shit. Look. You mentioned the Guardians. Well, how did you feel about like their minimalist screen time that they had in this movie? Were you expecting more out of them, or was it just enough time they had? Really?
Like, I knew going in, what we're seeing in the trailer is practically everything. I knew. I was like, this will be everything. And I was right. When they left, I was like, okay, yeah, one battle and they're gone. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I fully expectations for this film. The reviews weren't great. A lot of things were like very shoddy when you hear about it. But it just, it was worse than I thought. The Guardians, exactly how long I thought they'd be for. Exactly how long. Almost every scene in the trailer was also in the movie, so it was like whatever.
It's like with they didn't have much to do. They were mostly just like, yeah, we're in the midst of this one battle, and then it's like, oh, we need you, and then it's like, okay. They didn't have much to do. Also, it's just they had the one battle. That scene on the ship with the screaming goats, where they were just complaining about how noisy they were. Plus, those goats, I generally thought those were a punishment more than anything. Like, nah, this ain't a gift. Who would give screaming ass goats? Like, nah, this is like one final fuck you for destroying our city. Like, just.
Yeah, a lot is just so. Like, why do they. Seemingly, both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker had feelings.
They're somehow sentient now?
Too much. Like, I don't. Like, I know sometimes people talk to their cars, they speak to their cars, they speak to their possessions, I guess, But they leaned into it too much to the point where one, it was annoying. The joke was over. The joke, first of all, was dragged for longer than it needed to be. And then it created no humor. It was like, oh yeah, Stormbreaker jealous. Okay, cool. It's not even alive. How is this jealousy affecting the literal plot of the film when it's not even like truly alive? Like, it has no sentience. They needed it way too much.
Yeah. Plus, it was actually affecting his Bifrost. Like, remember when he took off and it just dumped him? Like,
that was again a shift that was part of the Asgardian tours. Was because Stormbreaker was misbehaving quite literally and chucked Thor out of the sky when he tried to go to that area in like the negative zone.
Yeah.
It chucked him out of the sky. It was like, I guess it was saying fuck you for saying that at points. And also so what happens to Mjolnir now? Does he have both hammers again? Jane's dead.
No, I mean, he has Mjolnir. We see him wielding it at the end, and Love wields Stormbreaker, so...
Love wields Mjolnir, and... Wait, no.
Love has Stormbreaker, he has
both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker now, right?
Yeah. She gets the axe, he uses the hammer.
And just... Why didn't Mjolnir, one, instantly repair itself after Hela broke it? Whatever. What are these pronouns? I don't know. Why did it repair itself only with Jane? Why didn't you repair yourself at any point between Infinity War and Endgame when Thor was in danger? Why? So many whys. You're telling me that Jane's life is more important than Thor's? Thor's life was in danger in so many instances throughout this movie. Why didn't you repair yourself and go to him?
Yeah. I suppose the argument could be made that once the hammer broke, Thor never tried to summon it, so it didn't have reason to get off the ground. Like, I can kind of see that. Exactly.
She looked at it. She touched the glass. Like she didn't say, "Stormbreaker, come to me." It just guided towards her.
Yep.
Which I would assume takes less brain power and emotion than being on your death line. You would think Mjolnir would go to Thor as Thanos was literally about to slice him. But luckily, Cap has a day with a past version of Mjolnir. Like, you're telling me that through that entire war, Mjolnir was just chilling on New Asgard for 5 years?
Shit, man. It's...
He never once tried to lift it when he sank into his alcoholism and depression.
He never once went over there like, okay, let me pick the pieces back up, but just
to even mourn it. Because yes, losing his hammer did affect you.
Yeah.
That's literally what Ragnarok establishes. That losing his hammer was integral to losing an important piece of your life, as mentioned by Korg when they were in Syxx. But not once did you ever go to the hammer, look at it, try and piece it. Because literally, okay, let's get one thing straight. If anyone can lift Mjolnir, it's Thor. It's Ur, so it's Thor. So even if it's broken, why didn't he ever lift it and try and put it back together? Instead, it's in the literal pieces. It's in the same formation as it was when Hela smashed it. It remained in that spot for, 8 years? It's been since 2017.
Yeah.
It's been since 2017, and it's just been chilling there. Thor never once tried to put it back together or even arrange it neatly, put it in a shrine, put it in like a nice little memorial, like nothing.
The fucking people of New Asgard
They
had
just
to do that.
They just scooped up from the ground and put it in a dome. Because you can't lift. You can lift the ground around it, but you can't lift it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what happened was, like since they couldn't lift it off the ground, like they just like dug around it and they like, lowered the area so that they could make it like that viewing place, because when it...
And the implication being that even after Thor was back on Earth, he never once tried to summon it or even went to view it to even put it back together.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if I broke like my grand's farms, right? Say it has like a family sentimentality, right? Say it's a family unit. If I broke it, or even like let's go more extreme. Say I broke like my grandmother's urn, right?
Yeah.
Say she was cremated and say I dropped her urn. I wouldn't just leave her urn in the exact same spot where I dropped it and forget about it and move on with my life. I would go there. I would look at the urn, probably cry a bit, and put it back together, or at least try to, or at least put it somewhere else. He just left it chilling on the ground, exposed by the elements for 8 years.
Yeah.
0 sense. Just 0 sense.
I guess you could try to explain it, but like he had Stormbreaker now, so he didn't really think about the hammer. But like, I mean,
which is my biggest issue. If Mjolnir meant that much to you, are you telling me that after getting a new hammer, you're completely over the old one? What? I mean, clearly he's not, because we see how he reacts to Mjolnir in Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
He definitely wants Mjolnir back, and he has like this weird ex-girlfriend vibe, new girlfriend vibe with him. So it clearly means a lot to you.
He even tries to summon the thing. He even like tries to summon the thing with Jade's in that town hall, whatever. Like, just, dude. Is it weird that it doesn't work? Like when he tries to summon Mjolnir, it doesn't even move. Like, did you find that weird? Because I thought it was pretty damn weird.
Find what?
Did you find it weird that when he tried to summon Mjolnir, it didn't even move?
It what? It didn't come back.
It didn't move. Like when Jane had Mjolnir on her waist and Thor tried to summon it, the hammer didn't even move. Like it should have moved. Like he should still be able to move it, even though it's with Jane.
No. I think what happened was it was going to him, but Jane summoned it back mid-summoning.
Yeah.
So it cancels out.
Yeah. That scene, like in the middle of the battle.
It's the fact that he had such a mediocre response to discovering that it was Mjolnir. Because he was really like, Mjolnir? And then he grabs it. Like, you would think it'd be more emotional. But it was just like visible confusion. Even with Jane, visible confusion. But then we go on to understand that he truly is confused. Like what is it? Should you be shocked that one, she's in New Asgard, and two, she's Thor? Why was your reaction so mediocre? Jane? That it? Is that it, bro? For real? You haven't seen her in what, eight years, and you literally said that you missed her greatly and you still love her, but her being Thor was like, Jane?
Okay.
That's all you're gonna say?
Also, speaking of that scene, what the fuck was that helmet?
And they used this helmet
helmet that showed up for like 0.2 seconds. An ugly helmet that did not need to be there, yet it was there regardless, when they easily could have used this Thor 1 helmet.
It was fucking...
And also, that ugly-ass helmet is a construct, but it does not behave in the same way as Jane's helmet does. Because Jane's helmet looks quite like nanotech.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Because Thor has to remove his helmet uncomfortably.
Yeah.
Like it was impeding his ability to speak or see or breathe. But Jane's is nanotech. But so many inconsistencies that don't make sense.
Yeah.
It don't make sense at all. They went out of their way to make her helmet like nanotech. And Thor just had to take his off. That's a joke.
It was big.
So many things.
It was big. And it had that scene. There was like fucking Wolverine. Dude, I fucking hated that shit. Like, just what the...
There was no use for it. We did not need it.
And you saw in that first trailer.
Again in the movie.
Yeah.
Like why was it to like flex? Like I don't understand. Like why did he even conjure up that costume? He didn't need it. The battle was over.
Yeah.
Did you only summon it to impress Jane? Like what? I don't understand.
Like he just gave himself a new suit just cause.
Yeah, nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, nothing does.
If you had to rate the movie out of 10, how would you rate it?
Honest to God, that movie was like a 4.5, honestly. Like I'd put it lower, but I guess people would really be mad at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first MCU movie I sat through in theaters that I very much so felt like leaving. I was literally about to leave, and I said, you know what? I'll watch the end of this movie on digital HD, right, when it comes out. Then I thought to myself, and I go, you know what? I spent $300. I don't want to. Like the only thing that stopped me was the fact that I spent $300.
Yeah.
If I'd spent just the 62 or however much a TV ticket is, I would have left. I don't care. But I spent too much to just leave. But I very much wanted to be there. I just said, go down, like, this is abysmal.
Prior to this film, was there ever a movie where you, honest to God, walked out halfway through?
The Eternals is only a bad movie, quote unquote, because it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. It's not a bad movie because of certain elements of the plot. Yes, you know, certain elements do exist that aren't great, but it's mostly a bad movie because it's boring. Because it's a bad movie with certain things. But Thor it's not even boring, it's just painful. It's painful to sit through. There's a lot happening. There's a lot and nothing happening at the same time. And plot inconsistencies and
Yeah.
tough.
Personally, I give it personally, in my professional point of view, there were a lot of things that didn't work. There were a lot of things that, did, okay, not a lot. There weren't a lot of things that did work, but personally, I'd give it 6 out of 10 lightning bolts, personally. I give it a 6 out of 10, because as bad as it was not Dark World, it was not Eternals, it wasn't boring,
Nah, Dark World, okay. It only wasn't Dark World because of Christian Bale. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
The power of a
Let's agree
good
to that.
villain, man. Just...
If it was anyone else other than Christian Bale playing the character, it would be Dark World. But Christian Bale, just his presence alone, notches it up by like one value. That's it. That movie to me is Dark World. But even Dark World wasn't painful. Like it was boring, but not painful. This movie was painful as well. That's why.
Okay, with Dark World, it was mostly Loki propping it up,
This movie again.
Yeah. Yeah. With Dark World, mostly for me, it was mostly Loki propping it up, just...
And again, the Loki thing also helped in the Dark World. Like, the presence of Loki helped. That movie is just boring. Like, it's not painful. This movie is... It's not boring per se, because there's a lot happening. In the Dark World, there's not happening. Loki's trial and Dark Elves and Jane's sick. Here, it's Asgardian politics, it's finding love, it's cancer, it's Mjolnir, it's gods, it's god butchering. And yeah, like there's a lot. There's kidnapped kids, there's just a lot. So it's just so many things coming at you, and it's so many things that aren't even good. They're not good. I don't understand why when Thor was in that, I guess that Heimdall-esque dreamscape that his son put him into. I don't understand why in that scene there was color. Yet when they arrive in the actual place where the kids are supposed to be,
everything's black and white.
Not color. So what is Heimdall? Can Heimdall's kid project color in his perceived? I don't even know what to call it. Like, what is it? Is it like a hologram? Is it like, I don't know. But clearly Heimdall's kid can conjure up color in a colorless world solely for Thor's benefit.
Yeah.
When they see Thor is gray. So, there's too much to pick apart.
Also, that fight in the Shadow Realm should have been a hell of a lot more one-sided, because dude draws his power from the shadows, he's in the shadows, there's no natural light here. Like, he should have been fucking decking them. It should not have been even. Like,
it's even the fact that they didn't even fully, like, when you're speaking about a character like Korg, right?
Yeah.
The origin of his weapon, it's not that important since it encompasses a couple of pages, but it's important. In this movie,
it's just there.
We completely ditch the symbiote thing. We completely ditch the fact that it should come from Null. We completely ditch the crashed spaceship. We ditch all of that. It's a random, and was that Null? I don't even know.
We don't see who that is.
I didn't even focus.
Yeah.
Who was the dead creature that giant god apparently found a sword on? Like, and even that thing is so strange. It's a god who looks like a normal human, but he's like 9 feet tall, and he has weird nature monster. Like, what are those? Like lackeys? Are they like his entourage? Because they die when he dies, and he bleeds gold blood.
The gold blood was a nice touch, though.
One thing I really did not like.
Yeah.
They went out of their way to include Bastet in a still of the movie. Jane, Valkyrie, and Bastet. We see her for about as long as we see her in the trailer. She has like no visible screen time. Yet she's the god of one of the many prominent heroes in our world. There are many gods in that pantheon, in that arena, in that, I don't know, UN's office, whatever you want to call it. But Bastet is literally the Black Panther goddess. We don't see her at all.
Yeah, but she's credited.
She's credited indeed, and we don't see her at all.
You telling me you couldn't spare like a few seconds of screen time to pan past and like, have Thor be like, hey, there's Bastet or whatever, just...
Because literally, there were actual news articles posted that Bastet will make an appearance in Thor Love and Thunder. Now, what that means to me, being an article-worthy announcement, that Bastet will fight alongside Thor against Gorr. she's literally an extra. Bastet is an extra. We don't even see clearly. We see her in a couple of panning shots, and I don't know if it was my theater, but when Valkyrie is with Jade on the seats of those emotion gods, you don't even see Bastet below them. Yet in the official still from the movie, the aspect ratio is wider to actually accommodate being able to see her. Yet in the movie, the aspect ratio is smaller. So in that specific scene where Valkyrie and Jade are sitting to one another, you don't even see Bastet at all. Just a small sliver of her ears. Why even cast her to begin with? Why? Why was that an announcement? We didn't need her presence. Such an important character was unneeded. Just like the Celestials. Exactly like the Celestials. We didn't need them there.
Yeah. We could have not had the Celestials and it would have been alright.
And everyone and their grandmother thought that this movie would finally answer who or what killed Norway. Because obviously in the comics, Korg kills Norway, and he kills Norway with the Necrosword.
Yeah.
But in this movie, that's nothing. It's not even in. It probably wasn't even in Taika's mind.
Yeah.
That, oh yeah, we might as well answer who killed Norway. But no. The only thing in his mind was putting in some celestials and just making it a abysmal movie.
What I didn't get was like, no, I didn't like this, that Zeus knew that Gore was out there killing gods. I didn't like that Zeus knew Gore was out there and he was just like, look, we're gonna, that's why we're gonna hide here. We're safe here. It's cool. Like, he was afraid of Gore. Like, the fuck, man? You're Zeus. Why are you fearing this shit? It would have been made more sense if Zeus was like, it's nothing. Whatever your news is. Like, just, instead of him being like, I know that Gore's out there, that's why we're all here now. We're safe. You can't get here.
And again, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. The only thing, and this is very... I'm not mad, but like, it's the one place that they didn't fuck up. The portrayal of Zeus in this movie is very accurate to what the real Zeus was like.
Yeah.
He was a god obsessed with debauchery, sex. He wasn't necessarily a good person. He wasn't even a muscular person. He had a very ordinary body type. And like that's how he's written in scripture. Like that's how he has been described and how he has been depicted in a few of his doctrines or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, for that I don't mind. I don't think the accent necessarily. I don't think it was necessary. That Italian or whatever accent he had, we didn't need it, but he did it anyway. So kudos to him for dedication. But also, he probably filmed for like a day.
Yeah.
So I don't think a lot of effort went into crafting Zeus. He's just a slob. He's a slob SOB who likes to have sex.
Yeah. Even like he was.
And apparently
Even at like that announcement, okay, we're talking about like who's invited to like this year's orgy. It was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, like that's Zeus. I'll give that to them.
Yeah.
But even the scenes were great because there isn't even, and this is one thing I also hate. There is no sense of power, dude. When you look at Zeus in the comics and Hercules, not only is Hercules more formidable than Thor in quite a few runs, Zeus is Odin's equivalent. Yet Thor quite literally, what we think, kills him.
Yeah.
He feels like nothing. He feels like fodder. The fact that Thor can just rip his lightning bolts from the ground and fight these random Grecian foot soldiers that turn to gold dust when you kill them.
But
there's no sense of power behind Zeus.
Like, why does Zeus, the god of gods, have these average-ass soldiers guarding him? I mean, dude, it should be seriously hard to beat these motherfuckers, and it's easy. They're basically Chitauri at this point.
Yeah, it's bad. It's just not good. And there was way too much comedy. It's way too much, more than the Guardians, and I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you were saying in the beginning. It's like Taika has essentially standardized himself. There are too many jokes, too many unfunny jokes, and too many jokes that
last too
stretch
long
than what they need to, which makes it unfunny and cringe. Just the whole different gods thing, like there's a god, there's like a soup god, there's like a dumpling, like a CGI dumpling.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that was a reference to that Disney short, the Pixar short, Bow.
It was like a character that should be on Gumball, you know?
Yeah, he
but
does.
this thing is a god. The god of what? The god of food people? Like, what the fuck is that? There's a god that's just a head and some toes, and he's quite hairy. Like, what is that? None of those things were funny. None of them were funny.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the Cronin god, because he's literally just a Cronin. He's just a Cronin. Like, I don't even think he's that much bigger than Cole.
Yeah, sitting
He's
on
the regular Cronin who's a god, I guess.
I like that he was sitting on the throne of scissors, like just like, oh, like, it's a callback to that earlier joke. Is like when Korg was like, "Hi, I'm Korg. I'm made of rocks. I'm not a threat unless you're made of scissors." Like just like, oh,
yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Like the only thing in the movie, jeez, I can't even decide.
Did anything make you laugh? Like, of these jokes, did any of them make you laugh?
What was that?
Did any of these jokes make you laugh? Like the movie's jokes, as many as there were, did any of them actually make you laugh?
Only one. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Only one joke made me laugh. Okay, just go through the jokes that made you laugh, and I'll see if any one of those are my jokes.
There was
if you can remember them.
Yeah, when they were traveling on that ship, on that Viking ship to the Shadow World, and they could see it, and it looked like it was there off in the distance because it looked pretty small. They're traveling there, and then boom, they crash into it. I legit.
Oh, the planet.
Like, dude.
Yeah, that was like a Rick and Morty.
Yeah, like.
I didn't laugh there, but I was like, oh, cool.
Like, dude,
I'm trying to remember.
I almost choked on my soda with that shit, man. Like, oh shit. Oh, dude.
I think it was an Earth scene. I think it was definitely an Earth scene. But I'm just trying to remember.
Another thing that kind of made me smile a little bit, the Infinity Cones store. Just like, oh, Infinity Cones. Like, just, that's nice. No, when you think about it, there's no fucking way Infinity Cones would actually exist. Because, what's it been like?
Oh, yeah, I saw it like behind the scenes.
Yeah, dude, because, like, think about it, that's a pretty traumatic event, dude. Like, no way you'd make an ice cream shop out of Infinity Codes with everyone knowing that, hey, the stones are why half the population disappeared. It's like...
Yeah, it's like having, like, World War II codes. Like, why would you make an ice cream flavor out of a war?
Yeah.
Like, it's a literal war that killed half your people, brought them back, but also killed several others because they died naturally, not that they were snapped. Oh, okay, I think I remember what joking me off, and I just remembered because I mentioned this. Someone said half of people are gone.
Yeah.
And someone said
half of people are always gone.
Yeah, that made me laugh because like they're always dying.
Yeah.
You know, people died in the Dark World. They died in Ragnarok. The army died in Ragnarok. My Hela.
They died in Infinity
War. Died on the Statesman, and then they probably died in the Wakandan. No. They died and they just come on. Well, you know, I assume some did. You know,
yeah.
I don't think everyone got out there unscathed. You know, a couple of Wakandans died. A couple of Guardians died. Yeah. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they're always using numbers.
speaking of,
that was funny. Yeah, that was the only joke that I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty funny, and I laughed.
yeah. Speaking of the
But the
Avengers
rest-
compound thing,
When I did laugh after that, it was an ironic laugh to be like, this is so terrible. When Thor gave those kids powers, I laughed. Not because it was funny to see it, because it was just terrible. The kids using weapons like having strength like Thor. It looked ridiculous, and I just laughed because it wasn't supposed to be humorous. It was supposed to be badass, but it wasn't badass. It was funny. And I was like, this is horrible.
their weapons being the random crap that was laying around in that place.
And for some reason, their lightning is yellow, but Thor's has always been blue. Just inconsistencies, unending consistencies. Why is the lightning yellow? Why? Nothing makes sense.
Plus, there was that one kid who had like a little pet bunny, and she was using it to like shoot lasers and shit. Like,
Yeah, so
what the?
is the bunny like a laser gun now? Like, how is that a power of Thor? Is it like a lightning gun, a light? Nothing makes sense.
Jesus, dude.
Everything makes sense if you write it
Yeah.
technically, but yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And the kid just is suddenly able to teleport everyone back now, despite, he's even fucking Heimdall couldn't do that. Like, he needed to, like, summon, like, All-Father strength to get Hulk back to Earth, but his kid can just teleport a bunch of people back to Earth by himself. Like,
I mean, he's Heimdall's kid. Whatever. It belongs to family. At that point, I didn't even care. I was like, whatever. He probably learns from Asgard. I don't even give a fuck. This is bad. Yeah, that didn't upset me, funny enough. I was just like, whatever. They're gone, I guess.
oh, shit.
Just not good.
Yeah.
And just, it's creating certain elements purely for the movie's sake. Why is the Bifrost needed to find like eternity? Like why the Bifrost? The Bifrost is purely an Asgardian thing, but this seemingly Asgardian thing is needed to access eternity, and not even access, reach.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bifrost, what? Like,
Yeah.
nothing makes sense. And, of course, it can't be a Marvel film without fat humor. So guess who's hella, folks?
That was that little like scene with those actors and shit, Matt Damon and them, like just oh my god.
It's gotten stale because they did it once. It was fine. But now it's just like, okay, so what are they going to do now? Are they going to have another scene with Jane, someone else acting as Jane, and I guess some Hemsworth coming back? Because obviously in the first one, it was Liam. Now it's the other one, the older one who's a producer. What, is the next one going to be Liam again? Or another brother that we don't know about? And who's going to be Jane? Who's going to be Valkyrie? Yeah. And I would assume someone is going to play Gore. Because of course they would.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they'll get Ray Fiennes because he was Voldemort.
It's gone stale. I love Matt Damon. I love Sam Neill, and good, just good people. But they didn't need to waste their time filming those scenes because they did nothing. They didn't provide any level of comedy. They just fell flat.
Yeah.
Because at first, and here's the thing, when I first saw Damon's cameo in Ragnarok and whatnot, I thought that those were just Earth actors. I thought they were just like random actors brought into Asgard. Like it didn't click to me that these were Asgardians.
Yeah.
And then when I see him again, I think, okay, wait, but how were they actors in the previous movie? Because they were actually on Asgard, so they're Asgardian, but like they don't feel Asgardian. They're just like feeling people, I guess.
Yep.
Very weird.
I hated the fucking Tessa Thompson had the perfect like look on her face to like show how I was feeling when we saw them again. Like in the middle of that like town hall meeting, they come out of nowhere and they're like, Your Majesty, like you remember like in that town hall meeting when they show up again and they're like, Do you think
You kind of cut it.
Really?
Yep.
Do you hear me now?
It's a little bit.
Damn.
Well, that's that. Hey, it was good while it lasted. He walks up and he's like, "Your Majesty, do you think we should like do a performance to like keep the people's spirits up and like
Which makes us,
It's like she looks at him like, what the fuck? Just keeps walking, like just, dude.
And also, but dude, read the room. Okay?
Fuck's sake,
read
man.
the fucking room.
Oh shit! Like fucking kids have been kidnapped. People are stressing. Like and you're just like, hey, do you think we should like fuck off, dude? Oh damn.
Like he's a dumbass. He is a dumbass. And also another thing, and I guess this might be because they've kind of written themselves into a hole with this. Not really, but I'll explain why. Obviously, Asgardians are many, many, many years old. Okay, let me start with this. When the kids were kidnapped, for a split second, actually for several seconds, I forgot that they were on New Asgard. So I didn't realize that those were Asgardian kids. I thought it was a random village and kids just being kidnapped.
Yeah.
It took a while for it to click. Okay, these are Asgardian kids. And with that, they act very childish. And I get it, they're kids. But looking at the world, those kids are most probably like 70 years old. They're kids, Asgardian kids, but they're probably 70 years old.
Because Asgardians live for like thousands of years,
It's weird to think about. It's weird to think about. But those are old kids. They're not kids. They're kids. Jeez.
Asgardians are thousands of years old, dude. So yeah.
Because like Heimdall's kid, being one of the taller kids, I think he's like one of the older kids. He's like a senior among the group. You know, he like rallies them up. He keeps them calm and whatnot. He tells them, "Don't worry, Thor will be here." Heimdall's kid is probably older than Steve Rogers. Do you understand that? He's probably older than Steve Rogers. Like what? Yeah, it's crazy. You know?
Yeah. Like Odin was a couple thousand years old, and he was old. Thor was a couple thousand years old in the first Thor movie. So
yeah, like I feel like what it is, man, with this Guardian genealogy. From 0 to 100, you're a kid. Once you're in your hundreds, you become a preteen, teenager, young adult. As like when you saw Thor in his different stages in life, from baby to kid to teenager to young adult to adult, I would assume he's like 100 and something first, then he's 200 and something, then he's 500 and something, then he's 900, and then now he's like 1500 plus. Asgardians are old as balls. And if you're a kid, you're still in your early hundreds, which is a weird concept to fathom.
Mm-hmm. That is.
And also, another thing. I understand that they've been on Earth for 8 years now. I understand that. I get it. I really do. But no one in this movie acts remotely Asgardian besides Thor. And vaguely Valkyrie. The kids that are kidnapped act like Earth kids and they have Earth slang and Earth attitudes. But you look at Asgard, even in the comics, Asgard, the people of Asgard, the citizens of Asgard are not, they aren't Earth-like. They don't act like humans. They're more mature. They speak in like an Elizabethan tongue. They're very direct and straightforward. They're like Drax almost.
Mm-hmm.
They take things very seriously. And like, yeah. But everything just feels like these are humans now. It's fine.
Yeah. They've acclimated to life on Earth.
And also, I get it. Thor spent many years with Jane. But Thor is so much older than Jane's entire existence. Those few years he spent with Jane and the Avengers changed him from being Elizabethan for about 1,500 or 1,400 and something years to being like a regular Earth dude with Earth flag. Like in the opening scene, he's using just Earth slang completely against whatever creatures he was fighting. And I was like, how does he know that many slang words at this point? Because not even the Guardians shit. Not even they should, because they're not even from Earth. But he's using words that we'd use. And I get it, he's cool now, but come on.
Yeah. I'd like to know where he got those clothes. Like, that's just... They ain't cool clothes.
Where?
Cause I would like to know, where did he get them clothes? Those clothes that he had on in that opening montage.
Oh, he just took Starler's jacket and ripped it, honestly speaking. You can just tell.
Yeah.
Like, he is the type of guy to just steal Starler's clothes. And not even ask him about it. He took his shit, ate his food, he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And, it helps that they're like a very similar height and build. Like, obviously, Thor Hemsworth is much bigger than Pratt Star-Lord, but, he's not that much bigger. Pratt was a football player in his college and teen years, so he is a very broad guy. He has a very similar build to Evans. Not musculature-wise, but frame-wise.
Yeah.
So most of their clothing can, swap. They can alternate.
But with
So that, I wasn't mad at that. That kind of makes sense. They were even the same height in Infinity War. It was like, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But with the Guardians...
But he looks smaller in this movie as well. I don't know what it is.
So.
Like, Pratt looked very disheveled in this movie.
You're kind of doughy, man. You're kind of doughy in this movie.
Thinner than what he usually looks like. And he just, like, his face is thinner. His neck is thinner. His shoulders seem smaller. Like, I don't get it. Something was off with Chris Pratt in this movie.
And Drax, dude. Drax was round in this movie.
Drax, and I remember there was a still. There was like an HD still from the trailer taken. And Batista just looks old. He's puffy and he's old.
Yeah.
And people were like, guys, is Dave okay? And I don't know. He didn't speak a lot. He probably had like 2 lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Batista is, he is heading up there in age. But so is The Rock. But look at how The Rock looks.
Yeah.
I think with Batista, it's just probably something. I think he kind of doesn't want to train as much as he used to.
Plus, who's gonna train for a cameo, man?
Yeah. So he just looked like they got him from home. Same thing with Pratt. Yeah.
The Guardians didn't have a lot to do. And, dude, the screaming goat thing, like, those goats came up more often than they should have. Like, it's the same thing you said, there's not a lot of funny jokes.
Wait, you lost me again.
You know, the screaming goats,
Oh, yeah, because also they didn't even name them. Like in the comics, they're Asgardian goats, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
Yeah.
But here, they're just random goats that are gifted. They won't even name drop them. Like, you could at least name them, but nah, they're just random goats. Just 2 goats. 2 goats, probably voiced by Taika as well. Who knows?
Probably.
I didn't stick around for the credits to see, but yeah, 2 goats.
Oh, Jesus, dude, the movie, what a way to end a phase. Let me just say that.
This is literally the last. No, okay, it's not. Like fantasies, come on. But after this is the second to last Phase 4 film. Second to last. And this is how we end things? Jeez.
What else is there?
Black Panther Forever.
Oh, right. Oh, Wakanda Forever. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, that's the last movie in Phase 4.
Dude, okay. final thoughts on Thor 4? I mean, I'm not wrapping up a conversation, I'm just wrapping up this review. Final thoughts on Thor 4?
Could have been so much better. Very disappointing. Would not watch it.
Yeah. Definite 6 out of 10 for me. I also...
Me, 4.5.
Yeah, okay. Have no reason to watch again, so... Yeah.
Yeah.
If it
I've
was
watched
like...
No Way Home about
Yeah.
60 times, and that's a true number.
Yeah.
But this movie, I have no desire to see it again.
Yeah. Maybe...
At all.
Maybe if... down the line, they do a Waititi cut, a director's cut where we see Gore killing fools.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back.
If there's some like extended thing.
Yeah.
However, if it is okay, so if there is an extended cut, right? If they mention what scene has been added, I'll honestly just fast forward to that scene, watch it, and delete the film from my laptop. That's honestly what I do.
That's cold, man.
I'll just fast forward to that particular scene that was added. I'll watch it and move on with my life. I won't sit through those painful hours.
I generally want to see Jeff Goldblum as Grandmaster interacting with Gore. I want to see each of the dwarfs interaction, And that's it, man. That's all I'm asking for. I want to see Gore actually killing people. Just...
Okay, here's my question. Has Nidavellir been restored? Where's Eitri?
He's dead.
Does he live in an old age home?
Like,
is he still alone on Nidavellir? Like, what's his story?
that's the thing, dude. I'm guessing his death scene would explain where he is and where he wound up. So that's what I'm like, I want to see that because they
literally abandoned him in Infinity War.
Yep.
He gets his weapon and they peace out. He's just there. He has no hands, stuck in the dark. Well, not dark anymore because Thor restarted the dying star. But it's still dying. But every star's dying. Most stars are dead. We just don't see it because they're millions of light years away. So it probably died when the dinosaurs were alive. But yeah, that's not the point. He's just chilling on a deserted planet. Not even deserted. He's chilling on a dead planet. Just, questions that need answering. That's literally the segment. Questions and answering.
Yeah. Like, Lena Headey was supposed to be in this movie. And, she was, her scene was deleted. But, apparently she's being sued by her, talent agency for, money that they didn't get. They didn't get their cut or whatever. Which is weird. Who would she... There were rumors she was gonna play Death. But I'm yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that, but at the same time, it's why? Why is Death here? Why is Death here now? Because Death isn't a god or nothing. Death is just Death. So, yeah.
Nothing makes sense.
Yep. Thor Love and Thunder. ... Nothing makes sense.
Nothing makes sense at all.
Yeah, that should be a thing. When they have that trailer where they have all the reviews popping up, The Guardian rates this 4 out of 5, the Daily Times, blah, blah, blah. At the end, it should be S&W Reviews. It's 4 out of 10. Underneath, nothing makes sense. Just
a very confusing movie, the S&W EXPerience.
Yes, a very confusing movie.
Just slap it on the DVD cover, one time.
Yes.
Kevin Feige, if you can hear this, pay us.
Or at the very least, give us a shout out, just...
Yeah, we would like to give your movie a better shot.
Yeah.
Just put us on the DVD cover.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, dude. I would definitely do that. If, we got a call, alright, let's see what you got. I'd be dude! Just...
Just the day when they finally recognize us.
as
damn.
media, and we get to see movies early. That's the dream.
That's the dream, dog. Like, getting paid to come see movies, man. Like, just...
Mm-hmm.
The only downside would be, like... Yeah, the only downside would be is if we give a harsh review, you just know they would, like, hold it until after the movie comes out.
Exactly. That whole embargo thing.
Yeah.
Spoiler embargo.
Oh, shit. But then again, would that encourage you to give a positive review just so that your review can, like, you know, be out there in the news before the film?
That's the thing. It's like Apple. Like, Apple will contact these various YouTubers to review their new product. They'll send them a unit, and naturally you would think, okay, Apple's giving this to me. I should review it with complete honesty. However, if you dunk on it, they probably won't give you future releases. So if we would have been invited, we can't dunk on the movie too hard, otherwise Kevin will go, well, you don't deserve to be here. So we gotta, we gotta chill.
Just
for
the
our man
movie.
Feige, of course.
Yeah.
We'll never show for anyone else other than Feige, not even Raycon. And I'm speaking to you, Ray J.
Yep. Oh, shit, dude.
We will never show. Except for Feige.
And for those motherfuckers in the comments that, rag that we only talk about Marvel stuff and we love to just crap all over DC, like, we're sheep for Marvel, all I say is,
Would you
just...
chill over Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
That's actually a good question.
We don't chill over Warner Brothers. We dunk on them more than anything. Just...
What if they paid us?
If they
to
paid
chill
us.
for Flash? Would you chill for Flash?
I would try very hard. Like, I just know that movie's gonna be rough, so I'm gonna have to try really, really hard. But I would try.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. And to finally
Flash
close,
is ready.
yeah,
Just,
we'll get to that.
It's on the road to hell at this point.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I just wanna wrap this up by saying, Thor 4, I gave it a 6 out of 10. You gave it a 4 out of 10. And to those motherfuckers who say like, 4.5, yeah, because of Christian Bale. Yeah, I forgot. Shit. 4.5, and to those people who are were sheep for Marvel, like, I give your opinion a meh out of 10. Just, yeah, eat that, motherfucker.
We are sheep and we chill. We're not good people, folks.
Yeah, we never gave the illusion that we weren't. I mean, just, yeah.
Exactly. We're honest.
Yeah.